XYZ fam!
Hey, XYZ fam!
Alright guys, so in this video we want to talk to our university friends a little bit. Cause I mean, we're not too far out of university.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about what it really was like for us as Christians in university. And some things that we did to make our experience one that wasn't as annoying as it could be. Could have been.
And I don't think we had a boring university experience.
We had a lot of fun.
Like, by and large, most people leave university either regretting it or thoroughly enjoying it, but did give up on God in the process.
Yeah. A lot of people who we knew too.
Yeah. What happens when high school lovebirds get married?
They move to a new city and start a YouTube channel, of course.
Welcome to Adventures of XYZ. I'm Xaundre.
And I'm Zara.
I'm a doctor.
And I'm a lawyer.
But we both just really love sharing our faith and going on cool adventures.
So we created this channel to share our journey as we attempt to use biblical principles to navigate life.
And have a whole lot of fun doing it.
So, come along with us! So a little backstory on how we got here, right? This week I had the utmost privilege of going to be the guest speaker at my alma mater's prize giving ceremony, right? So that was nice. I left Xaundre home for a little bit, so I did have a lot of time to think about just the whole experience. And I loved being there. It was very nostalgic. And I'm in red because red is a school color. But for those of you who know anything about Glenmere, or you're a past student, you know that Glenmere is very extra. So for the little prize giving, them have the bands out. And it's all dramatics, but I love that, and I think that's why I'm so extra. Okay, if you guys want to know, Glenmere caused it. The whole situation was nostalgic. I spent some time with mommy.
I couldn't get to go.
Yeah, Xaundre couldn't get to go because he had work. One of the best things about being at the prize giving was just talking to the students who were there and meeting you, the students, the teachers, and the parents who are a part of XYZ fam.
Yeah,
that was nice.
And then I heard all the stories. And everybody who sent hello to me. Hi guys. Zara didn't eat the messages. She actually gave them to me. I gave them to you. But it put me in a very nostalgic mood, a very reflective mood. I didn't get a lot of clips, but I put the clips that I got right here.
Come along with us.
Is like my favorite thing about Glenmere, and I love the school song. That's my jam. For anybody who went to Glenmere during my day, you know that when the school song came on, we all were jamming. All right, so to hear that again in live, that was something for me. I love that. When you go talk at places and them give a plant as a gift, no, that means you're a real adult. They give me a basket with peanuts in it, them give me a plant. So it means I'm a real adult. I don't know. Look. See? I don't know if I can keep it. I don't know if I can keep it alive though. But it's so nice. Come now, mommy.
Wearing one pair of shoes.
My other pair of shoes then.
1 foot.
So you can't only drive with it. When you drive with 1 foot of shoes?
Sometimes. Yes, dear.
She come home early, we come there. We neighbor tell mommy say no 4 o'clock she must go back at work.
I went to Ministry of Education.
No, because me there she come home early.
No.
So yeah, I went and picked her up today at Knutsford, and she's back home after she left me at home for all of a week by myself. I don't know how I was supposed to survive.
It was 2 days. Anyway, it's so orange, guys. I wonder if orange or lime, but we still eat it though. So yeah, so the experience got me in a very reflective and nostalgic mood, and we thought that this video would be a good idea.
So babe, what did you find to be the single best thing that you learned coming out of your university experience?
Put God first. And it might sound cliche, guys, but honestly, I've proven God over and over again, and you is where I built my strength, because I had to stand up for him in a place where it was not popular.
It was very unpopular to be Christian.
And I had to go, and even more, I was Christian but I was Adventist, so it made it even more unpopular. I had to go against the grain for a lot of things, but God showed up and showed out, and ultimately I think I came out very good, you know, and not to toot my own horn, but yeah, that was one of my best things. What about you?
I realized that university is hard, but life is hard, and the same kind of strategy that I used for university is what I try to apply to life in general. That if there is a right way to do this, and there's a way where things will work out in our favor, God know the way.
True.
God must know the way. And he said that all things work together for good to those that love him.
True.
Obviously, you have to include that part that says to those that love him. Then all things will work together for good. But assuming that you love him, then you'll do what him tell if you do. Right. But the point is, he must know what he wants to be done. And I just felt like it made the most sense to consistently go to him and ask him to actually help me through.
Exactly. And you know, like, I came to university to be a hot girl. If you've never seen my testimony, you can go and check it out. There was, when I left Glenmere and I planned to come to UA, it wasn't to be a Christian. That wasn't, no, it was breakout time. It was breakout time. And I mean, it was even during those times when we decided to go our separate ways. So no.
Can I tell you guys why?
Because you couldn't manage the hotness. It was too hot to handle, literally. You couldn't manage the hotness.
Alright guys, that's actually a part of it. I could not handle her hotness because her hotness was not good for my spiritual life, if you understand what I'm saying. I came to university very
calm, cool, and collected. Mature.
I'll tell you guys shortly why I had to take that stance and why I saw it so important to make sure that I approach university with a very calm, collected, and calculating approach. But yeah, she was a hot girl and I couldn't deal with the hotness. So we went our separate ways. And if you want more of that story, go and check out our videos on our love story.
But me never hot for long, you know.
But during the time when she was hot, she was well hot.
It was like a few weeks. I still have some of those clothes that I bought. Because this summer, I went to Florida and I shopped for the hotness. I never wear some of those things. Honestly, I never wear them. It never lasts long. God just dropped me boof. And God was like, listen, I put you here for a reason. And that's when we got introduced to Adfil, and that ultimately changed our life.
But yeah, when I came to university almost certain that I was going to go to whatever extent it required to maintain my spiritual relationship, because I hadn't seen very many people who left my home church and went to university and didn't like give up on God.
That's true.
And when I went to med school, I went to med school with enough money to pay for my first year tuition.
Never have no money, I mean, your parents.
Oh, good point. I never have no money because I never work a day in my life up to that point. I knew that I'd probably come up with the money, but I really wanted a scholarship.
Right.
And because I really, really wanted a scholarship, I went to God from the get-go and I was just like, all right, God, you have to help me land this really good scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you guys more about that scholarship story next time. We'll go in depth and talk about how we managed to fund our university experiences. But for now, just know that I entered university with a very clear decision to keep my relationship with God.
Yeah. Did you ever feel at any point that even though you wanted to do that, it would be challenging, or were you always very confident about the walk and the journey?
I wasn't always very confident. I think when it hit me the hardest was maybe about the second week of orientation, when I realized that I was living on Hall, right? And I was living on Towers Hall, one of the best. Well, I still maintain that is the best hall on campus. I really think so.
It is. It is the best hall on campus. I mean, other halls have other things to say, but
they can say what they want to say. Towers forever. But anyway, so our hall is so amazing that it attracted a lot of pretty girls. So there were a lot of pretty girls who were students, who were resident on the hall that I was staying on. I remember saying I'm coming from a good Christian home, and a lot of times I don't really go some places where I see people in certain kinds of things, you understand? And 2 weeks into orientation, when I realized that every waking hour that I spent on campus, especially on my hall, even on my floor, even on my building, just go outside on the courtyard, I was seeing people in
little to nothing. Like the fact that it was the norm to wear what I saw these people wearing, I was just like, no man, a Babylon me there. Alright, Daniel. We're trying to treat you, bro boys. Get it? You know me funny.
Hi guys.
Are you Shajarbi Shakarabin? That's so funny.
Alright, we have a new orange now. Let's try this one. Hopefully not as sour as the other one.
Much better. This tastes like better. Orange now, not lime.
This is orange.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest distractors would be like events. And what I did to circumvent my FOMO, because things were going on and I couldn't participate because, one, I know that the environment would be wrong. They would be playing music that I never wanted to listen to, or they'd be drinking, getting high and stuff. I would just find similar ADFEL events that were going on in the same time. So one of the biggest things that ADFEL always has retreat during carnival season. So we were not home looking on Instagram and seeing all the carnival pictures or whatever, and we were not on campus hearing all of this. We were at retreat being filled with the Holy Ghost, and having good Christian fun. It was always true. Really fun. So even on a Thursday when Yui was having Inti, which is their party that they have every week, ADFEL would have something. Even your cell group might have something, or there is some practice for something, but I kept active by not just ignoring, because sometimes Christians are, you have to be strong and you have to ignore these things, but it's not easy to ignore these things, because if you like something, you like something. And I love dressing up and going out. That's just my thing. So because I knew that that's something that I would struggle with, I never want to feel left out, then
that's so true though.
Then I used to just go to the things that were,
you have to find something to
replace it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need something to fill that void. Cause like, for example, if you're not listening to secular music, but you don't start listening to gospel music to fill the gap, then you always a crave.
Your life got boring.
Yeah, or case in point, we're on a fast and not eating processed sugar, not eating added sugar, but we still need something to fill that gap, and hence we are picking on sour oranges.
This one is sweet.
I'm still scarred.
One of the things, you remember last week we were talking about danger lying beneath the surface? That was so applicable throughout university, because you would have these little hall events that would be very harmless. But when you go, people drunk, people high, it's a dance, it's a party. And it was really just a get together. Like, how did it get here? How did this girl end up on her head top a spin like geek? How did that happen?
First of all, when I went to what was it? Freshers cocktail.
It was cocktail.
I went to Freshers cocktail thinking that this was just, you know, a fancy little cocktail.
No, there's nothing fancy. Everything
starts out fancy. Almost all of them start out fancy, but then they end up being, you know, wildness.
Yeah. So because of that, I was really cognizant of the things that I went to, what I said yes to participating to. And sometimes you would see you're going to seem uptight for the people who are at university. Maybe not UM, it could be UTech, or it could be not in Jamaica at all, overseas. You know, people might say that you're uptight, but when at baseline, what are your morals and what's your belief system?
That's true. And I actually went to a lot of these things and left early. I found that to be quite useful.
Oh, hey there. Are you finding value in this video? Do you think it's a good one? Go ahead and share it. Just share it all over the place.
Especially share it with people who you see are in university right now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They are the ones who would benefit from this content. And tell them whenever they're ready, go ahead, ask the questions in the comments. Send us a DM on Instagram at Adventures of XYZ.
All right, back to the video.
Anyway, having said this, I don't think it's fair to leave it at that and just say, you know, don't participate or whatever, because that's definitely not the case. We were very active on Hall. Yeah. And well, my thing was, anything that I could participate in, I was going to go all out with. So I didn't go to a lot of events. But you see, every event I went to, I was at the front. I was either hosting it or doing some special thing there. Yeah. And I made sure that when I went, I did a very good job. There's actually a book I'm reading right now.
Oh, it's a book that you're reading. Such a nerd.
Does that make me sound like a nerd?
You are a nerd.
Does that make me less attractive?
No, I still love you.
Okay. So,
I mean, I knew you were a nerd when I married you.
You knew what you were signing up for?
Yeah, I know news.
So there's actually a book that I started reading. Well, I started listening to it earlier this evening while I was chefing up some things, and then my wife called me and said, remember, we didn't record the YouTube video, so I don't reach too far in it yet. But the title of the book is So Good They Can't Ignore You by Austin Kleon. And basically in the book, I'm sure he's going to develop it some more, but the point I've been getting so far is that when you're going to do something, be so good at that thing that they can't ignore you. And and not to toot my own horn, but I just really believe in doing whatever you do very well.
Yeah, same.
And I was in debate, and I used to go and give my everything to debate.
You did well. Yeah.
I have more trophies for debating than I have, probably more than I have pants. I think I have more trophies than I have pants, actually.
What a comparison.
But anyway, the point is,
do what you do.
Do what you do and do it very well.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit shaky when what you do is kind of, you know, something we would advise you to not do. But that's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
But do what you do and do it very well.
True. And I think that's like a life lesson.
Yep.
Because
this is the last one. Would you like it?
I can get a piece. We can share it.
Okay. Tell them about the life lesson.
It's a life lesson because two things. One, as Christians, we believe that we got the resource of time, and that we've been given talents. God has entrusted us with talents, and we should be the best representations of Christ's character in every area that we go into. So in the workplace, you know, we hear all the time, the one, you know, she a Christian, she go on like she say she a Christian and she do this, or say him a Christian and him not stop do this. Like,
you are supposed to be the best representation of Christ in every area that you go. So whether it be UE, whether it be university or it be after university, because especially when you're going to have some demands, like people who worship on a Saturday or people who need Friday nights off, and sometimes Saturdays are the best days. But if you are such a good employee or such a good student, you'll get those days because easily. You would have already shown that your value add is so significant that to give you that extra shift or that extra day is like nothing.
It's true. If you're that good at what you do, people make way for you.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in cadet in high school, and most of our camps were on weekends. And you know, a weekend is not very long. You have the Friday night, you have the Saturday, you have the Saturday night, and you have the Sunday morning, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I used to basically miss all of those Friday nights and Saturday in the day and go on camp on Saturday nights. But I added so much value in the time that I was actually there. That my officers were willing to give me the time out, but assuming I was just, any other straggler, just I go through and just, just there.
Bare minimum.
Yeah. Then they wouldn't feel inclined to do that. They wouldn't care less.
And that's how we took on university. To give more than just the bare minimum in every area. So yes, we're at UA doing all that we could do, but we also gave God everything. When I say we both were so active planning programs on campus for ADFL that sometimes we forgot deadlines for school. We actively went out on retreats, hikes, planned Singspiration, planned Chapel Day, knowing that we had exams. They just say, Jesus, may I work for you, and may I do this? And I think a whole shift in perspective is that we had this, and I'm talking on behalf of me, I'm just figure this is how you feel too, is that we had a mindset shift when we started working for God on the campus or with God on campus, right? And that mindset shift was that God wants us to be in university on this campus during these years. We don't know what he wants us to do in each year, but we knew that he wanted us to be there for these years. And we're going to do the best that we can do to allow his light to shine through us. And that meant planning programs. That meant just talking with our flatmates. Like the amount of my flatmates, and we used to every every exam time,
prayer for exams on the floor. We used to pray with the students on our floors. And then I used to have a little stocking on my door. I don't know if anybody who's watching this used to be on my floor, but the girls on my floor used to love that, because every Christmas time during exam time I used to put a little Christmas stocking and fill it with candy so that all the ladies would pass by during that stressful time and they could drop their prayer request in the stocking and they could take candy, and it was the cutest thing ever. And I'm a dork. And I remember they used to wash the stocking, when it's stocking empty, they used to get a knock. Zara, the system done. So a question that I've gotten a couple of times, right, is if university generally purports
if university generally, say it in a regular language, man.
This is my regular language.
I know, but you have to talk normal sometimes.
University curricula normally espouse the ideas of evolution, and
people are saying that how do you sit in a classroom where they're teaching evolution principles and stand up for your Christian beliefs?
Yeah, what she said.
I can't believe I have to be translating your language into simple language.
So basically people wanted to know, how do you strive? How do you thrive?
How do you thrive in those spaces?
Yeah, that's what happens when you try to talk different from when you normally talk.
Alright, talk your talk. Go on, talk your talk.
But basically, how you manage in a space where people are not God-fearing generally,
yeah,
and your teachers even are actively teaching you things that exclude God from the picture. And there was actually a quote from Sister White, that's Ellen G. White. I don't know if you guys ever hear of her, but basically she's a prophetess that we believe in the Adventist Church. Whether or not you believe in her is completely inconsequential to this discussion, but the point is she said some really cool things, and one of the cool things that she said was that there is no height that can be attained that you should not strive for as a Christian, but as you rise to these heights, never leave your God and your religion behind. Because God is basically going, and obviously I'm paraphrasing, God is basically the one that's going to give you the ability to move to the next level and to move to the next level. And I read that quote from when I was in high school. So when I got to university, I was acutely aware of that. So as I sat in classes and I heard them talk about evolution, and I heard them talk about things that necessarily excluded God from the picture, I tried in that moment to reconcile that with my belief system. And if I couldn't reconcile the two, then I found that my religion and what I personally believe is what would trump it. So even if I write on the exam what they say they teach me in class, I know deep down what I believe. And if I can't find the two of them making sense and being complementary to each other, then I would go ahead with the one that is consistent with my deepest value system.
But yeah, being in an environment where you are the anomaly is not going to be easy. But having a strong support system, having friends who believe the same thing that you believe, having friends who you can do fun stuff with, because you can have a lot of fun, because we had a lot of fun every week. I mean, I used to go out way more than my friends who were non-Christians.
That's true. That is very true, because it was a lot easier for us to go out.
Yeah.
Because our go out never have to be nothing too fancy.
Right.
Our go out was literally on a Sabbath. We would go and sit over by Hope Gardens and have potluck.
Yeah. And we'll go to a new church.
Go to a new church every week.
Yeah.
And it was some fun times, and you meet so many new people. Obviously, guys, we can only speak for our university.
Right. Sorry. We apologize if your university doesn't have this, but guess what? If you're a part of a university that doesn't have it, you are in an even better space, because guess what? You can create it. You can create it. It doesn't have to be anything official.
And you don't have to formalize it.
You don't have to formalize it. Put up a bulletin and say, hey, I'm forming a Bible study group. I just need 5 people. Or DM this. If you don't want to give out your number, create a fake profile on Instagram and say, DM this profile for more information. And you meet once every 2 weeks. Boom. That's your group there.
All right. So to bring this all to an end shortly, last 2 things we want to touch on. Well, I guess one of them we're going to actually expand on, but one of them we'll just mention. We'll talk about how we financed university in a next video. So that is to come. We'll talk about it.
That's a whole testimony, guys.
Yeah. Let us know down below if you want us to do that video, because we don't want to waste time doing it if you're not interested. So if you're interested in finding out how we paid for university, just write tuition in the chat. Not chat, what's something name? In the comments down below. And make sure that you're liking this and that you're already subscribed to Adventures of XYZ. If you're not, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's wrap it up now with the last thing. All right, so you are obviously a bright spark. You got scholarships, you finish university, you finish law school, you're a whole bright spark. How did you manage?
Made it, guys. Bear me all on by a thread. Hanging by a thread. It's fine then of his garment, so don't let go on the last thread.
But I'm just glad that she's pretty. Alright, so I wanted you to tell them a little bit about your academic experience. Like, what are some of the things that you used to get through the academics part of it?
I don't think I was a bright spark. I was like a decent student. I got like A's and B's. Xaundre did get maybe 1 B in his whole university experience.
That's not true.
I even got a C sometimes. You know, I would prioritize my relationship with God, and because I prioritize my relationship with God, most times when I'm doing good at that, my life is very structured. And I have discipline because I now have a higher purpose. I now have more confidence because the confidence is not on me. It's the fact that God is going to bring me through. So I have a routine and I stick to the routine. So that's really what helped me through academics during exam time. I used to burn the midnight oil, but I also used to get rest and I used to eat properly. And I really was committed to the laws of health. And people laugh at me all the time that I sleep too much and how
Auntie Daisy.
And they used to call me Auntie Daisy, but I was very committed to getting my 8 hours of sleep. And I used to rest. I used to drink my water. I used to eat properly. I started the best times of my life eating was in university.
It's true.
Best times. I used to cook. I was that girl in university. Trust me. I need to get back there.
Oh, I remember in first year when people used to praise the guys who could operate on 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah, no.
And guys would come in and say, "Yo, I'm in beast mode, bro." It's like, what does that mean? Bro, I only got 2 hours of sleep last night, man. I'd be like, alright. Cool.
Yeah.
While I proceed to get my 8 hours sleep. Because I would still fall asleep in the classes even with 8 hours sleep in the bag.
No, I used to sleep. I was well rested.
Yeah. I actually have a couple of things to share there. I like the academics of university.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't really like that.
I like the social part of university. I like the fact that we did go places and we could also befriend them. That was the fun part. And that's why in COVID I was so annoyed for the people. I was like, you guys just only got the academics part. That's the worst part. Anyways,
That's true.
Anyways,
I also had a lot of friends that I really enjoyed studying with and stuff, so that made the entire academic experience a lot more pleasant too. But a couple of tips that I'd probably share in terms of the academics part of it. One, when it's study time, it's study time. Don't study and text and laugh and chat and plan things at the same time. It's one thing you're doing at a time. Multitasking is a myth. Don't try to do it. It does not work. Choose a thing and do it. A good book to read on this is deep work. And a technique to explore is the Pomodoro technique. Yeah, I introduced Zara to that while we were in university, and it has worked miracles.
And that's when you study 25 minutes and break 5 into that 4 times. And then after you do that 4 times, you take a long 20-minute break. And that was fun.
Because for me, for the majority of my university experience, I didn't study for more than 2, maybe 3 hours each night. I would generally come home, I'd eat and bathe and get a quick nap, and then I'd get up, do something on hall, whether it's debate practice or whatever. Then I'd leave and go to the library and I'd study for about 2 hours. That's 4 Pomodoro sessions. And then after that, I'd just come back to my bed, I'd sleep, and then go to school the next day. And just rinse and repeat. Consistency is key. You just keep on doing it over and over again, and you get used to it eventually. And then you realize you're not too done. But anyway, so that's one thing that I'd want to share. Something else I'd like to share is when you actually are in class or you go to school, whether in our case it was you were going to field trips and courtroom and stuff like that. I was going to the hospital generally. When you're at school, you're at school.
Actually pay attention. Some people do this crazy thing. They're at school, they're trying to do everything else, and they say they'll just read it when they go home. You never do.
Like, there are a lot of times when you're going to find, especially when you're going 100% in this ministry and bolstering your Christian life and stuff, you're going to find that sometimes you just never get to study.
Just can't do it.
You just never get to study. But you know what? You can go in that exam and you can pray the prayer where say, honestly, God, I did not get to study, and you see that I'm undeserving, but I was doing what you called me to do. So please make the only question we come on this exam be the ones that I studied.
We've heard the testimony.
You know the thyroid story.
Yes. Them know it
One
too.
Next time I'll tell you guys the thyroid story.
Oh,
them know the thyroid
you did
story.
tell them my thyroid story already. The OGs know the thyroid story. I don't remember which vlog it was.
Point is, you can go and pray that prayer that says, God, me never study, but me know you can come through and help me. So come through and help me because I was doing your thing. But yeah, all in all, at the end of the day, the biggest takeaway from my university experience was every step ask God to show you what the next step is. Like, don't bother with the, alright, God, I need to see the full picture. It's the start of this semester, you need to know how you're going to pass all your exams, or you just start university and you want God to show you how you're going to get the distinction when you're leaving. No, it's not that serious. Just show you the next step. That's what I think. What about you, babe?
Amen. Same thing, ditto.
Alright, so guys, that's all from us for now, and we would love to catch up with you at some other time with more details on some of these things that we spoke about. But for now, that's all we can give you. But if you have questions, drop them in the chat. We'll be happy.
Drop them in the comments.
Right, that.
For sure. So, we'll see you next time on
Adventures of XYZ.
Bye, guys.